What if the very thing you've worked your whole life to earn, your education, is actually the reason you're still struggling with money? Sounds impossible, right? You did everything right. You got good grades, went to college, earned that degree, landed a decent job. And yet, somehow, wealth seems to slip through your fingers, while others, sometimes less educated, seem to build fortunes out of thin air. Warren Buffett once said, "The best investment you can make is in yourself." But what he meant wasn't just studying harder or collecting diplomas. He meant developing financial intelligence, the kind of education schools never teach. Today, we'll explore 15 reasons why many educated people remain poor, despite their intelligence and hard work. And if you stick with me until the end, you'll understand why Buffett believes that true wealth comes from how you think, not what you know. Let's begin. It starts the moment that degree hits your hand. There's a sense of relief, a belief that you've made it. You're officially educated, qualified, and employable. But here's the problem. That same comfort can quietly kill your hunger to grow. Many people see education as the final destination, instead of a launchpad. They rely on their qualifications to open doors, expecting the world to reward them just because they studied hard. But as Buffett often reminds investors, the market doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. When your sense of identity is built on your credentials, you start to fear risk, cling to stability, a paycheck, a title, a job, because that's what you were trained to value. But real wealth rarely comes from comfort. It comes from venturing into uncertain territory, where skills, not degrees, decide your fate. Some of the richest people in the world aren't the most educated on paper. They simply learn to see opportunities others ignored. Meanwhile, many degree holders stay trapped in routine jobs, convincing themselves it's safer, while unknowingly trading decades of potential wealth for a sense of security. Comfort feels good, but it's often a velvet prison. And there's another one hiding in plain sight, inside classrooms themselves. You can ace calculus, write perfect essays, or analyze ancient poetry, but still have no idea how compound interest works. That's the strange reality of our education system. It teaches people how to earn money, but not how to manage it. Warren Buffett has always emphasized that financial literacy is the true foundation of wealth. He once said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die." Yet most schools never mention passive income, investments, or the power of ownership. Think about it. You spend years mastering your field, but when your first paycheck arrives, no one tells you what to actually do with it. Should you save, invest, or pay off debt? So many people end up following the crowd, buying things they don't need, living paycheck to paycheck, and wondering why their financial situation never improves. True financial education comes from curiosity, not curriculum. Buffett built his fortune by reading about money long before he had any. He studied markets, learned from mistakes, and let time multiply his knowledge. Educated people often overlook this part because they believe knowledge ends with a degree. But financial intelligence isn't about memorizing facts. It's about developing instincts. It's learning how money grows, how to protect it, and how to make it work harder than you do. The person who understands that is richer than the one with 10 degrees but no clue how to balance a portfolio. And that misunderstanding doesn't just affect how you earn. That's where the next trap begins. The moment the paycheck grows, the lifestyle expands to match it. New car, bigger apartment, expensive vacations. I've earned it, they say. But here's the catch. Every new luxury becomes a new liability. Educated people often fall into this because success has been defined for them since childhood. They were told a degree would bring status, and status must look successful. So instead of building wealth quietly, they spend to prove they've made it. Warren Buffett, despite his billions, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958 for just $31,500. Not because he's cheap, but because he understands the math of freedom. Every unnecessary expense steals from your future independence. Lifestyle inflation is subtle. It doesn't happen overnight. It's the dinner upgrades, the brand name clothes, the car that costs more than your first year's salary. Before you know it, your bills rise with your income, and you're locked into a lifestyle that keeps you working just to maintain appearances. Buffett calls it the rat race of respectability. Educated professionals often work harder than ever, yet save less because they believe more income means more freedom. But wealth isn't about what you earn, it's about what you keep. When you measure success by what you own, you'll always feel poor next to someone richer. When you measure it by your control over time, you start to feel free. Having a good job and a comfortable life sounds ideal, but that mindset hides another limitation. Most educated people are taught one thing from childhood: get a good job. A job trades your time for money, while assets trade money for more money. Warren Buffett once said, "If you don't own a piece of a business, you're a slave to someone else's." That's the quiet truth of the job mindset. You can be highly skilled, respected, even well paid, but the moment you stop working, your income stops. Formal education creates specialists. You learn how to do one thing exceptionally well, and someone else pays you for it. But true wealth builders think differently. They create or own the systems specialists work inside of. Most people with degrees spend their lives climbing corporate ladders, while entrepreneurs and investors are busy building the ladders themselves. That's why Buffett believes in owning productive assets, companies, stocks, real estate, that earn even when you sleep. The educated person's trap is believing that job security equals financial security. But companies get sold, industries change, and AI replaces roles overnight. If all your income depends on your time or your employer's mercy, your wealth isn't stable. It's borrowed. The wealthy don't reject jobs because they're lazy. They reject dependence. They know freedom doesn't come from promotions. It comes from ownership. And once you shift from asking, "How can I earn more?" to "What can I own that earns for me?" you start playing a completely different game. Another obstacle quietly appears, one that comes disguised as intelligence itself. Here's the paradox. The more educated people are, the harder it becomes for them to take decisive action. Why? Because education teaches analysis, not execution. The more you know, the more risks you see. And when you see every risk, you often see no opportunity. Warren Buffett calls this paralysis by analysis. He studies obsessively, but when the time comes, he acts. Most educated people stop at the study phase. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. But perfection never comes, and the years slip away. Less educated entrepreneurs often succeed simply because they start. They learn by doing, fail fast, and adapt quickly. Meanwhile, the academic mind wants to predict every outcome before taking a single step. In a world that rewards speed and adaptability, hesitation is costly. There's also the fear of losing reputation. The more credentials you have, the more you have to lose if you fail. So many educated people never risk embarrassment or rejection. They stay in the safe zone, confusing intelligence with progress. But intelligence isn't measured by what you know. It's revealed by what you apply. The world rewards execution, not potential. It helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. Now, what happens when intelligence meets fear? When knowledge creates hesitation instead of confidence? That's where risk aversion begins, and it's one of the biggest barriers to wealth. In school, we're taught that mistakes are bad. You lose marks for being wrong, you're praised for being precise, and you're punished for taking chances. That mindset follows many educated people into adulthood and quietly destroys their financial potential. Warren Buffett has made billions, not because he's never wrong, but because he's willing to act when others are paralyzed by fear. He once said, "You don't have to be right that often. You just have to be right about the big things." Educated people often wait for perfect information before making a move, whether it's investing, starting a business, or switching careers. But in reality, the world rewards those who act before everything is clear. By the time the path is obvious, the opportunity is gone. The irony is, their intelligence becomes their limitation. They overthink, overanalyze, and overprepare. They want certainty in an uncertain world. Educated individuals often leap first, learn faster, and adapt along the way. In wealth creation, Courage beats credentials. You don't need a finance degree to understand that money grows through calculated risk. The moment you protect yourself from every possibility of failure, you also protect yourself from every possibility of success. Taking no risk is the biggest risk, because while you're waiting for the perfect plan, others are already compounding their returns. So ask yourself, are you playing not to lose or playing to win? Warren Buffett often says that the most valuable skill in life is the ability to keep learning. Not learning for grades, but learning for growth.
Formal education ends the moment you graduate. Real education never stops. And that's where many educated people fall behind. They believe learning is something you finish. You can follow a curriculum. But wealth requires you to write your own. Buffett still spends 80% of his day reading and thinking. He's worth over $130 billion, yet he behaves like a student. That's the mindset gap between the educated and the wealthy. Many degree holders stop updating their skills after entering the workforce. Meanwhile, technology, markets, and industries evolve daily. Knowledge depreciates like old software if you don't update it. The most successful people aren't the smartest, they're the most adaptable. Think of it like this. The world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you can do with what you know. Degrees fade, but skills compound. The person who can learn new tools, pivot quickly, and reinvent themselves will always have an edge, regardless of credentials. Education without evolution leads to stagnation, and stagnation is poverty in slow motion. But even after all this, there's one final, uncomfortable truth. It's mindset. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if your mindset isn't built for wealth, you'll forever work for those who do. The biggest reason many educated people remain poor isn't intelligence. It's how they think about money, success, and failure. Schools train people to follow instructions, not to question them, to seek approval, not independence, to value safety over growth. It teaches you to chase stability instead of freedom, and to confuse income with wealth. Warren Buffett believes mindset is the real dividing line. He says, the difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. Wealthy people think independently. They choose long-term gain over instant gratification. They delay comfort now to multiply freedom later. Most educated people are conditioned to think linearly. Study hard, get job, earn more, spend more. But wealth creation is exponential. It grows when you invest early, reinvest profits, and allow time to work its magic. That requires patience, risk, and vision. The truth is, you can't save your way to wealth if your mindset is built around consumption. You can't build freedom if you're afraid of discomfort. And you can't lead if you were taught only to follow. Wealthy people think differently because they see money as a tool, not a trophy. They use it to buy time, not to show off. They see learning as endless and mistakes as tuition. So if you truly want to be rich, not just educated, you have to unlearn more than you learn. You have to think like an owner, act like a student, and live like someone who values freedom over approval. Because at the end of the day, it's not your degree that decides your destiny. It's what you do with the knowledge you have. Warren Buffett quietly built his empire on. Comfort is a cage. Financial literacy is freedom. Lifestyle inflation is a trap. Assets matter more than salaries. Indecision kills opportunity. Risk tolerance shapes your future. Skills outlast degrees. And mindset is everything. If you recognize yourself in any of these reasons, that's not a failure. It's an invitation. You can choose to stay safe, or you can choose to grow. You can keep collecting certificates, or start collecting assets. You can keep working for money, or make money start working for you. Warren Buffett started small, reading, learning, and investing, little by little. His genius wasn't in doing something impossible. It was in doing simple things consistently for a long time. And that's something anyone can do. So, as you finish this video, take a moment to think,
What's the one small change you can make today that your future self will thank you for? Maybe it's saving that extra $100. Maybe it's starting a side business or finally taking that risk you've been avoiding. Because the biggest mistake you can make is thinking you'll start tomorrow.
Because wealth isn't built in silence, it's shared through wisdom.